Welcome back to the VODs Music Hall Berlin for the last day of the World Championship group stage. Yesterday, history was made as Fnatic punched their ticket to quarterfinals by knocking out perennial quarterfinalist RNG. Today's teams, IG and HQ, will look to meet EU's second seed as we conclude the final day of groups. You're getting a look at footage from the Oppo Reno 2, a camera phone that is equipped with anti-shake and bokeh effect so you can catch all the best moments here in Berlin. Hello everyone, I'm Shox, closing out groups with Raz and Azael for the last countdown from the VODs Hall in Berlin. And 3 days have gone by swiftly with a ton of upsets and craziness, and something tells me the same will happen today.
I feel like that's the name of the group with Worlds every year.
Yeah.
You come into groups, people set expectations, and then it gets blown apart over the next 2 weeks.
I was so confident this year. This time around, I had my pick'ems all set, and then it starts off with this Griffin and G2 just upsetting me.
A lot of things going crazy, and yesterday not in the least. We will hit on SKT clinching of the #1 seed later, but yesterday we do have to talk about the miracle that happened in the group of death with not a lot of chances given to them. Fnatic trumped RNG, overcame years of trauma really versus Uzi and RNG, and made it to the quarterfinals.
This was so incredible, not only because of the caliber of Fnatic's opponents, but also because of their week 1 to week 2 transformation. Rekkles not only showed up when it mattered most for the team, but he did it on marksman like the fans were asking for, and Europeans have gotta be feeling great.
It's started funny. Hilariously,
yeah,
though.
Because it was a week 2 start of day to the end of day week 2 transformation, I would say, where it started with clutch gaming.
Scaling.
Yeah, they were getting into the day. And it was beautiful to see that transformation when they went up against SKT. It was a very smart game and a great performance from, I would say, Rekkles in particular.
Yeah, Nemesis as well, pulling out the Veigar here. Yeah, not letting Faker get that solo kill. In fact, churning it around, going from strength to strength.
Nemesis has been so impressive because that was a big question coming into this tournament. With the loss of Caps, would Fnatic have a mid laner that could compete against the likes of Faker? Nemesis showed that and more yesterday.
And it ended the day for me with the match that we all wanted to see.
Yeah.
RNG versus Fnatic. I came out completely for RNG there because the strengths were true. The bottom side was incredibly strong for RNG throughout the tournament. I think Uzi had probably one of the best tournaments, as short as it was, just based off of his individual play. But at the end of the day, it's a team game, and Fnatic came out strong.
Exactly, and the historical record was 9-1 in favor of RNG before that match. And if there was ever a time for Fnatic to break that strain of losses against RNG, it was yesterday. They did it. They qualified for the quarterfinals, and what is also important, 3 EU teams find themselves past groups and in quarterfinals. That has never happened in the history of League of Legends. And yeah, just being from the LEC myself, that is of course a resounding success for the region.
Yeah, it says a lot about the depth of the region. Because coming into the tournament, I just said it was top heavy specifically for Fnatic and G2. And even then, a lot of people were just saying it was a G2 horse race there. But then Splyce came out with a pretty large performance in Group B that is. J-Team, Splyce, even that game versus Fun Plus Phoenix at the very end made it a nail-biter.
Yeah, and maybe we gave up some of G2's strength. They didn't get #1 seed, but now we have 3 teams in quarters. We take those. Final word about Fnatic and kind of what we saw from them over the whole group stage. What are our expectations for their quarterfinals?
I still think you're an underdog going into quarterfinals against at least the #1 seeds that we've seen thus far. Those will be incredibly difficult matchups. But we've also seen if Fnatic can play with confidence, if they can play with that pizzazz, that magic they captured yesterday, they could beat anyone.
Yeah, they're going to have a good day for whoever they face in the quarterfinals. But yesterday, an emotional Rekkles was interviewed in front of the fans. Let's get a look back.
You did what we thought was impossible coming in today. Any first impressions on this victory and qualifying to quarterfinals?
I don't really know what to say, honestly. I came in today obviously wanting to win like everyone else in our team, but now that it actually happened, it's just crazy. I feel like this group was way too much to ask for, and in a way it's just like strengthens us so much because if we can beat these teams, we can win the entire thing, you know, so it's just a really great feeling.
Fnatic performing when it matters the most. It's not even a meme, right? You do it every time. How did you make it happen today?
I feel like we were just more interested in winning than scared of losing, like last week. We were so scared of losing. Like, Worlds is only 6 games, and 1 or 2 games can change the entire thing. So we're really scared of losing and kind of just not representing Europe well, I guess. So we kind of shit the bed in week 1, I think, and week 2 we just all wanted to show more, I guess, more of the Fnatic people have seen. And I think we did pretty well.
Do you know that now you have a 2-9 tracking record against Uzi? What was different today?
I think my teammates played really well. I honestly didn't do much, I'm sorry, but I really didn't do much, so I'm just really grateful for my team. I think they carried both of these games against SKT and RNG, so big kudos to them.
Give yourself some credit here too, yeah. I know the journey was not easy for you, and coming here today, this was do or die, basically. So what will you learn from this group stage to help you now in quarterfinals and in the suite of the competition?
Playing ADCs, I guess, is a start. I would probably just say, like, as I said to the second question, just not being so scared of losing. It's okay to lose. It's just how you lose, I guess, and how much you want to win. And I think we all want to win really much, so we should just aim for that instead and forget about the losing part. And then we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're all here for you. So anything you would like to say to your fans who were yelling, literally yelling in the audience for you guys today?
Honestly, when we play the game, we can hear most of what you guys do, so it's really nice to hear when you're cheering for us and stuff, so I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you for the interview, Reckless. Congrats on reaching quarterfinals. One more time for Fnatic, please.
Great stuff from Reckless. The one thing that I take away from that I think should be hopeful for Fnatic fans going forward is that he said, we shedded that feeling of we're going in being afraid to lose. And I think that is what was their downfall in week 1. They kind of threw in the towel before they started those games. It was a completely different Fnatic yesterday, and they reigned supreme over RNG. And with that rise of Fnatic comes then, of course, a fall of a titan as RNG. They missed their first quarterfinal ever. And I want to put the attention on this picture from LPL photographer Yikun, who sees on the one side there's Uzi, who is in his room after that game, and that Reckless interview is playing, and next to it the victorious Uzi so many times when Reckless fell down at the hands of RNG.
And it really plays at your heart and reminds you of what it's all about. An entire year's worth, and in some players a career's worth of effort being put into that one moment. And for Reckless, a player who's felt that so frequently, it's nice for him to be on the other coin, but remember, with all victories comes defeat.
Yeah.
And so in this case, I remember the perspective of RNG. Remember, they came off of a pretty historic 2018, but they still didn't get that one big championship. And for them, it really felt like this would be the year with them picking up Longsing, really reinventing themselves, it felt like. So coming into this tournament, it's crazy that they came out with an even worse placement.
And this is the reality with the rise of the LEC, with another powerhouse region. You are going to get groups like this,
yes,
where any of those 3 teams could be tournament contenders. Any of these 3 teams could be semifinalists or perhaps even above. But here we have Uzi going home early, and he'll be missed at this event.
And Raz, he played his heart out again. He never has a bad tournament, and that's why it's so sad for RNG, but also especially for one of the best players in the world to again make an early exit.
Yeah, he hit records this tournament. For how short it was, he still had a ridiculous group stage performance. And I talked about it being a team game. That's true. And for Uzi as a player, he still has more years in him. I believe that. And so I want to see, what next year looks like for an Uzi's RNG.
I do as well. Unfortunate exit from the tournament, but a team that did show up, and the undisputed best team in Group C, however, was SKT, who are on the way towards reclaiming their throne. First in the group, only 1 loss. What do we think about SKT right now?
I think they look great. Yes, they did have a tough game against Fnatic, but besides that, the other 5 performances I think were very impressive. And one of the big worries people had coming in was about Khan, who has really been stepping up, who has been performing well at this event. And so much of these games have been decided by jungle mid 2v2,
yes,
which Clit and Faker, it's just so hard to bet against them against any team in the event.
What the replays have showed me, what the games, especially against RNG, has showed me is that this is a different SKT and an LCK team. Because they're not just a smart team pre-20 that gets to the late game and goes up against an LPL team and then starts to blunder. What they are and what showcased, for me here today is that they're a fantastic team fighting team that even when you have outplay moments here from Uzi and all that, can still have great performances off the back of Teddy.
And let's bring up that tournament favorites discussion, because I feel like you had G2 who has been knocked down a big peg after those games versus Griffin. Griffin had those fantastic games and that perfect day, but then the first half. SKT rather seems like the most complete team to call a favorite so far.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, right? We talked about FPX, about G2, about SKT as kind of the big three coming into this event, the teams that would be challenging for the finals. Even if you're now adding Griffin into the bag there, they have never performed well against SKT, and I think that SKT had the most impressive group stage of any of those big teams we expected to be challengers.
And what I'm thankful for is that there is no such thing as a perfect team, and the fact that they ended up losing to Fnatic and what was a great Fnatic draft and execution in their composition showcases to me when we get into the quarterfinals, SKT is still going to be a great team. Sure, but with the right amount of prep, you can still get the job done against them.
It seems like, SKT is the team you absolutely don't want to draw, and Griffin probably up there as well. We'll see if someone emerges as a very strong contender today, because it's time for Group D to fight for the quarterfinals with Damwon, TL, and IG all tied in first, all and 2 in 1. That is a distinctly different atmosphere going into this group than the ones we've seen previously.
It's wild. I was waiting for this group the most because out of all three teams, I know even AHQ, that conversation is going to have to happen. But Damwon, IG, and Team Liquid, I have no idea who's going to be coming out in first seed or even who's going to be essentially leaving the tournament early.
Yeah, Damwon, I think, looking at them, they have been, a very exciting team, focusing on the top side of the map. These solo laners, Canyon, their jungler, have all been performing very, very well. But their bottom lane, which was supposed to be this big weakness for them, has really not been getting exploited that heavily.
Yeah, and I think people forget that while they think of this team as great young talents, sure, very talented players individually, but we saw from the first round robin, very young, have those moments of errors, especially when they went up against Team Liquid.
I am very curious to see what Damwon brings today. Their counterparts from the LCK have both gotten that #1 seed, and we have to remember, Damwon went through the play-ins, had that kind of warm-up and practice and finding the vibe on the Rift. Then they had last week, now they had another week to reset. So I feel we're going to see the strongest and the real Damwon here.
And they really needed to have that time throughout the entire tournament, because I've always nailed on the idea of nervousness for young players on that stage. I think we saw that from Showmaker and we saw that from Nuggery. And now when we're coming into today's games, they are the most prepared team in this group.
Let's see what happens. Now, yesterday, Raz, you had to say goodbye to RNG, who you actually had pegged as your tournament favorite. Are you ready to put all your stock in IG?
See, I'm a rich man, so at least now I can put stocks in a few other teams. Exactly. I agree.
Buy.
Buy them all. Invictus Gaming, they are still the reigning world champions. They still have some insane players individually. And so we already saw great moments from the Shy, from Rookie. And that was really the story for me, was taking a closer look at Rookie as a player, because it was a tough split for them. In the summer split, they had some down moments. And it was specifically Rookie who, as a player, needed that time on the field. He got that time. He looked devilish. He actually looks so damn good going up against both Jensen and Showmaker. I want to see what he can do today.
IG.
I think when the solo laners are performing this well, you talk to pros, they are terrified of going up against the Rookie, against Shy. These guys have been so damn good.
Yes.
And it really makes you start to think back to last year's Worlds, where they kind of had this aura of invincibility. Anytime you have two players performing that well, I think IG is the tournament favorite.
Yeah, and also last year, they even stumbled at the end of the group stage, right? But they became such a monster as the tournament went on in the semifinals and the finals especially. They are the reigning world champions. The other team we need to talk about in this group, the third #1 so far, is Team Liquid. And to start off the conversation, I want to catch back on to last time we saw Team Liquid when they earned a hard-fought victory against AHQ, and hear what Doublelift had to say.
Right now, round 1 is done. You're 2-1. What are your expectations for round 2?
If we play like that, we're gonna go 0-3 with the NA curse. But honestly, I think we're capable of playing a lot better. It's really crazy. I just can't believe how bad we were playing that game. I think the way that our team works is, on our best day we can beat anyone, and on our worst day we can literally lose to anyone. And like, I think that game, we really deserved to lose it. Like, we were doing everything we could to lose it, and we're really frustrated with ourselves, for sure. So, and after this interview, I'm going to go back and get spanked by the coaches. So we are definitely going to play a lot better in week 2. That's the goal.
Well, he was very reflective, and that's the double lift we've kind of come to love and expect at these tournaments.
Totally.
This candid in interviews.
People love it because everyone is watching that game thinking, what is this garbage, TL? This is looking terrible. And then double lift's going to come out. He's going to tell you the truth. He's going to give you his honest opinion. And I think that makes fans feel confident that they not only recognize it, but also that they can fix their issues.
And I do want to take a decent amount of time to talk about Team Liquid, as they are NA's last hope. And you could have said before the tournament already, perhaps their best hope in that, Azael.
This has been a build-up over the last couple years for TL. First, they achieved regional dominance. Then coming into this year, adding Core JJ, adding Jensen, some of these missing pieces where they weren't always able to compete, especially in the mid lane internationally. We saw that pay dividends at MSI, them getting out of groups for the first time for double lift, making an international final, and they're looking to build on that.
Absolutely, and I think it's maybe easy to discard, well, they didn't win the final and what happened there, but I don't think that's fair when you look at the project that Team Liquid has been building up. The fact that they've been dominating LCS for so long, and that was their best international result ever, including knocking out the reigning world champions. And I think this is how we need to look at this Team Liquid in this day of the group stage. They need to step up today and prove how strong they can be internationally.
Yeah, because look at these moments. At MSI, I looked at Impact and said, my God, he's really good. Like, individually, in lanes, he's had some great moments. In team fights, it's been the same case. So for Team Liquid as an organization, when they get to these points in international events this year, they look better and better to the points that you have been making. I think at this tournament, my eyes have been on Jensen reliably, because while you're right, the pieces to the puzzle have been Jensen and Core JJ. For the first round robin, that hasn't been the case for Jensen. That he has had moments, especially when they went up against AHQ with his Orianna play.
And we need to have step-ups from Jensen against the likes of Rookie, because if you make a mistake against this guy, he will punish you so damn hard. In the game against IG, a TP bottom lane with the wave at his turret essentially snowballed into being down 20, 30 CS, being down a level. Rookie can take that mistake and end the game with it.
Yeah, we see all similar things from other teams, you know, who have, or players who don't have the best days when they start, but then come back reinvigorated. And so much matters of how you do on the day. Azael, we saw 3 games from Team Liquid already, including a very successful one versus Damwon. How do you think overall they performed in that first round robin, and what do you expect?
I think overall they performed well against IG as well as Damwon. The AHQ game I was not impressed with, but I think especially Impact and Xmithy, you have got to be proud of how these guys played. Impact was such a difference maker against Damwon. This solo kill essentially blew the game open for TL, got them the Baron, and Xmithy, despite even having bad jungle matchups, being up against Olaf, being your mid laner pushed in, he was actually getting more done against IG, and really, really impressed me.
Where do you want to see improvement?
I want to see improvement from the mid lane. We talked about Jensen, not always stepping up. He had the fantastic LeBlanc game. This was a big highlight, but the other two certainly left something to be desired. And when you're going to play kind of open book League of Legends, everyone knows what TL will do.
Yeah.
You don't get to make a lot of mistakes because you're not throwing a curveball. You're not surprising anyone. They're not going to flex pick. They're going to play towards bot lane. Everyone's going to be prepared for it. So you have to out-execute your opponents.
Do you think there's a chance that something else comes in here? Because we've said that from TL for a long time, and it works more often than not. But do you think in this group you do need to take another risk?
So I think we could get individual champions changing, but the style will not, right? Maybe you get a Caitlyn, maybe you get some sort of counter pick in the mid lane, but it's going to be play towards bot lane. It's going to be play around team fight for double lift, or I would be shocked.
And that shouldn't change about this team, because what's going to make them strong in this group is the fact that they are a one-trick warhorse. Like, they are a team that comes in and they're so damn strong of being able to get their teams the post 20-minute structures. They can play around double lift and Core JJ. They can play well around the team fights. If they have vision, you can't break them. Going up against young talents and going up against, in IG's sense, like coin flip players in a few of them. I think that is a strength that Team Liquid should rely on.
But however, in Group D, Jensen and his lane... Jensen, I did it again. I'm not going to do it again. Jensen and his lane opponents could be the deciding factor for a mid lane check-in of Jensen. Here's Freak, Chat, and Spawn.
Yet.
Thank you very much, Sajox. Welcome to the caster desk. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say Jocks, but yours was better.
Thank you. Yeah. Either way, welcome, of course, to the Cast of Dusk. Mid laners have been very interesting here. Of course, Rookie is a name every player should know. Rookie, probably the best mid laner in the world. Last year has had a bit of a slower run so far this year. Showmaker, arguably the best mid laner of the LCK. Jensen, no doubt the best in the LCS. Some of these players have had a slower start, though, at Worlds this year.
Yeah, Rookie has been back closer to his 2018 form. You look at the laning phase he had against Jensen in the IG versus TL game. You look at the fact that he's been able to make big plays in these fights. I mean, this game was actually incredibly close before this fight. The Shy does the beginning zone, but the thing that actually wins the fight is the patience on that Shockwave. And this was the culmination of a dominating game by Rookie, where he not only won the laning phase, but he roamed bottom and got a lot of big plays done.
And I think the thing about Rookie is that he will play these control-style scaling mages in such a lane-dominant fashion, and it allows the freedom for his jungler to be able to go for greedier paths, pick up more CS than you would necessarily expect. On the flip side of the map, though, I do want to also mention just how good the mid laners this guy is performing against, because it's always one of those interesting things coming into an international tournament. Are you a world-class player, or are you playing in a weakened pool? In this mid lane pool, I feel like Showmaker as well as Jensen have shown in these games that they can also throw their punches.
Yeah, I mean, I even look across, you look at the Damwon team, and they have 3 of the top 5 accounts in the US solo queue right now. Canyon, Showmaker, and Nagari. So Showmaker also showing up big. And all the way across to Jensen, his week 1 was not that good.
Yep.
But if we look at the run that Cloud9 made last year to the semifinals, up until the semifinals, Jensen was actually the one pulling a lot of that weight. So for TL to succeed, I think Jensen's going to step up, needs to step up to get that form back.
We'll see if they can do it. Of course, it's going to be a very excited group. We decided all today. Rookie and IG kicked things off with a battle against AHQ. So let's hear more about that matchup.
IG did conquer the world in 2018. They're back to defend their title. I feel they flown under the radar as far as that possible, because a lot of those FPX games garnered a lot of attention in the beginning. But the world champion seems to be primed and evolving towards or being in a good spot to take another Summer Cup.
I agree, and I think that for me, the spotlight on Invictus Gaming, the reigning world champions, was, well, Summer Split was pretty rough for them. It was only after Rift Rivals that they had the 5 players that went to World Finals, that picked up that cup, that were at MSI. So when they finally had the time to play and work alongside each other, you know, my focus was on the Shy and being able to see great stuff coming out of Rookie. But today we're going to be seeing a new face.
Yeah, a big point here is, of course, that IG, after that shock of MSI, it wasn't all that smooth in summer.
Yes.
And for the playoffs, after some underperformances from Ning, Leon actually played all those games, which is why it's quite the shock that Ning is on stage right now.
So Leon was a good reason for why they were here at Worlds to begin with, because that level of consistency is something that they direly needed. Getting past the gauntlet run and everything. But what Ning showcases, remember, he is the world's finals MVP, is that he has such a damn high ceiling as a player. And throughout the year in the LPL, he just won a lot of MVP for games and all that. So in a best of 3, he can give you solo carry performances, or he could be the main reason why you lose games. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what level of performance we're going to be seeing from Ning tonight.
He's high risk, high reward, and that's why I think it's a little bit curious that they're taking out the more stable player in this best of one type of series and putting in Ning, who could get you a big win or could cost you the game single-handedly. It kind of speaks a little bit to the fact that they perhaps think they need something more coming out of the jungle, and they want that early aggression.
I will always have the faith in Ning as a player individually. I know what he could do. We've seen him consistently and what he could do when he performs at that level. It's more so the pressure, right?
Yeah.
Putting him under pressure, what can we get out of him? And I think we'll see great things here tonight.
We'll see how he performs based on what we've seen of IG so far. What do we expect from them, and how much should they be feared?
I think they should be feared a lot. You know, my pre-tournament expectations were somewhat weighed down by the fact that Rookie, when he came back to the lineup in summer, he was having some shocking performances. He was not up to par, but we have seen the Shy dominant in groups, Rookie dominant in groups, and Jackie Love actually was a rock for them throughout that summer split. So if these guys are all firing, if they can get it all together at once, that's a World Championship caliber team.
That's what made, expectations, pre-tournament expectations for this team really weird for a lot of people. You either had Invictus Gaming coming out as first seed, or you just didn't think that they were going to be getting out of groups at all. Because at the end of the day, if they come at 2018 performance at Worlds, then they could very possibly have 3 of the best players in one team in one tournament. And I think that says a lot.
How do we feel about Jackie Love, who was a very, very big point in last year's World Championship run for them, but I don't think has had the best performances so far?
He hasn't had the best performances, I think, in the first 3 games, but over the last year, I have seen such growth from Jackie Love. When you look back to last year, he was really high highs, he was really low lows. When you think back to 2018 summer playoffs against RNG, solo costing them some of these games, I didn't see that in the LPL from Jackie Love in 2019. He looked like a rock, and I do expect him to get back to that level because he has shown me so much consistency this year.
Yes, throughout the year, he has been the player for this team. And even coming into this tournament, it was a big kind of juggle of who was the best AD carry so far in the LPL between Uzi and Jackie Love, and that says a lot.
And this IG is so interesting to me because you know they are world champions. Ning is back in the mix. We also know that from Worlds last year, that Happy Games meme, that is where that started rolling, so to say. But then after MSI, they had to take a step back because, of course, they got flamed so hard for not winning versus Team Liquid. So I think they're going to bring a new seriousness to the second day in the group stage. And they're up versus AHQ in their first game. And AHQ is also a hard one to read because the 0-3 scoreline does not tell the whole story for me.
Yeah, I think AHQ, we've already seen the games that they had versus Team Liquid, and honestly, this is a very close group that we've seen just based off the games alone. They're the most well-rounded LMS team coming into the tournament. Ziv has been strong, but my eyes focus solely on Rainbow and Alex. I've seen Alex play. He was in the LPL with FPX in 2018. He is a great early game jungler, and he got the job done early versus Jensen in that game.
Also against IG last time around, we actually saw them combine to get Rainbow a couple of early kills on the Akali. They did actually have a gold lead post 20 minutes. So this is a team that can make a splash in the group, and as much as people are counting them out, hey, maybe they're not going to get it out of the group, but if you lose to them, maybe you aren't either.
Yeah, I think when we talk about miracle runs, it is possible. We saw it just yesterday. 0-3 is very hard, but I'm not going to count anyone out after what we've seen in the group stage so far. And as AHQ is also the last LMS representative, we also know what's on the horizon for the region. So hopefully they can pick up some wins and bring glory to the LMS on this last day.
Yeah, it's a new chapter. I love stories like these just simply because we already saw what J-Team was able to do based off the level of Fofo's performance. So it's nice to be able to see the talent that's coming up, rising up. And for me, when I look at AHQ, it's certainly going to be Rainbow and Alex.
Is that how they win it? Is that their only win condition for this game versus IG?
It's not their only win condition. Their bottom lane has been a very strong form for them in the LMS itself, so we might be able to see Ysera. I think he's a great support, be able to have great impact in roaming towards the mid lane.
Yeah, Ysera and Waco, I think, were probably the best laning duo in the LMS, so this is a team that can get their bottom lane going and win through that. But I think they really need to focus on their mid and late game. That is where they struggled in the first 3 games. You don't get to make mistakes against some of these other squads and come out with the team fight victory because all of them are absolutely immaculate in team fights.
If we look at IG as a possible tournament favorite at the end of the day, Azale, what do you want to see from them in the games they play?
I think to call them a tournament favorite, to put them even above SKT, you need to have absolute domination, right? You need to have them coming through and smashing 3 straight games, getting out first in their group. But we know they can have high highs. We know they can have low lows. So they're always going to be a threat no matter what, as long as they get to the quarterfinals.
I need discipline. I've seen too many games where they have leads and then, you know, the Shy will walk off in one direction, he'll start the fight, hope that people are right behind him, and that wasn't the case. So I need to see the team all on the same page today.
Okay, let's see what happens. AHQ versus IG will be our first game of the day, and today we conclude the group stage here in Berlin and decide the last teams in the quarterfinals. It's been a ride so far, so let's see what's in store for us.